Let's get into it. First things first, we got to talk about this, man. I don't know if you guys are aware, okay? Because I wasn't aware because this game is so fucking dead to me. I don't even know how many hours I have in this game, to be honest with you. I should honestly check. I should check. Let me take this out really quick. God damn it! Shut the fuck up, outro. There we go. The fuck is going on, man? I go away for a week and I don't know how to operate this shit. All right, so this game is dead, not only to me, but probably a lot of people, to be fair, right? So I don't really blame you guys if you didn't know because I didn't know either. But apparently, this game had a roadmap that was planned for it, and one of the two of the things that were planned for it were two expansions. The first expansion and the second expansion. But apparently, the second expansion for Starfield is MIA, and a lot of people who are still playing Starfield are questioning whether or not this second expansion is even going to come out. Apparently, when asked, the developers are really silent about it, and they're not saying a damn thing about it. It says when Starfield was released in 23, it came with the promise of a lengthy content pipeline that would yield at least one major expansion every year. Nearly 2 years later, and following the lukewarm reception of Shattered Space, fans are still waiting for Bethesda to deliver the game's second expansion, and by day, more are giving up hope. Now, I haven't looked at the numbers. I'm actually going to look at the numbers right now while we're talking about it. Because again, this game is completely dead to me, bro. I gave up on this game a little bit too fast, to be honest with you. I probably could have played it a little bit more. And there's probably going to be a day where I go back and play it and finish it. But I was so fucking bored of this game. And that rarely happens for a Bethesda game. Even with all the bugs that are jank and all that stuff. It's normally I could tough it out because, you know, just being in the world is interesting. Bro, I only have 20 hours in Starfield. That is pathetic. That is pathetic for a Bethesda game. I can't believe I only have that little bit of hours in that game. But if you look at the numbers here, let me share the screen for SteamDB. This is probably one of the lowest performing Bethesda games by far in terms of longevity for players. This is pretty fucking sad, to be honest with you. You can clearly see, I've never seen a Bethesda game do this, where it just fucking tanked, bro. When the game came out on the 4th, Monday the 4th, September 2023, by the time Monday the 11th came around, the game lost 90,000 players. Within just 1 week, the game lost 90,000 players. Another 7 days go by, and the game loses another 60,000 players. By the time it goes, bro, holy shit. By the time September ends and October comes around, the game is at 104,000 players. So after 1 month, the game lost 200 and around 20 to 230,000 players. Damn, that's crazy. And the math is not in their favor. And then after that, it kind of just tapered off, you know, from that point. So, but in any case, it's fine. So, but apparently, let's go back to the article because this is pretty interesting to me. So if we go back to the article, there was supposed to be a second expansion, but nobody seems to be talking about it. Despite vague and cryptic social media posts and references made by Bethesda's representatives in interviews, the unnerving silence surrounding the second expansion, which is rumored to be focused on Starborn, has left the community somewhat adrift. Shattered Space was a known thing long before the release of Starfield in September 23. It was set up as a promise that a major expansion would land not too long after the game hit the market, but that it would be a full 12 months before Shattered Space fully emerged. What was dubbed the resurgence effort for Starfield ultimately drew criticism for being shallow, repetitive, and too expensive for what was on offer. It introduced new gear and lore, but it failed to address critical gameplay issues that were present since the original launch of Starfield. Yeah, the drop-off is fucking insane, Nexus Nocturne. It's not even... I mean, the only game that I know of off the top of my head that experienced a worse drop-off than Starfield would be Monster Hunter Wilds. That's the only game that I know of that experienced a worse drop-off in the same amount of time. Right? Monster Hunter Wilds completely died after 90 days. This game didn't die after a month, but it died after about 60 days. More than a year after Shadow Space's release date was revealed, fans are left sitting with what looks like a dead game. Todd Howard confirmed that a second expansion was in development in June of 2024, but since then, no meaningful message had been uttered by Bethesda Game Studios, despite opportunities having presented themselves. So at this point, we are now past 1 full year. So the second expansion was supposed to be out by now if they were going to keep to their initial schedule of 1 expansion every year. It's not out. It's not even being talked about. It's not even heard of, let alone coming out. So where is the second expansion? Nobody knows at this point. So I think it's fair to say that Starfield, if it wasn't dead before, it's probably dead now, right? I think it's fair to say that. I think they've moved on. They probably are putting all hands on deck for Elder Scrolls 6, most likely. You got to imagine. But I'm sure at some point we're going to hear about the expansion, but as of right now, we don't know a fucking thing. In March, the team wrote the following: "We know that you're eager for an update, and we truly appreciate your passion for Starfield. The team has been hard at work, and while we're not ready to share specific details just yet, we have a lot of exciting things planned for the game this year that we can't wait to talk about when the time is right." So we're going to find out. Probably next year. Does anyone care at this point? Probably not. Probably not. But you know who does care? The people who are invested in the game. Even though the game is fairly dead, there are, a few thousand people that are invested in the game. It's got a 24-hour peak of 4,184 players, which, to be fair, is nowhere near what the number was not even that long ago. But still, there are people that are playing the game. If you look at the sales, it did anywhere between 2 to 4-ish million sales. This game could have easily been 10 million plus sales. Easily. If this game was actually good and it had great word of mouth and it did exactly what it was supposed to do, this game could have easily surpassed 10 million plus sales without a doubt. On Steam alone, not even talking about other platforms. On Steam alone, 10 million easily. But unfortunately, it got really bad word of mouth. It just is what it is. Look at the reviews. 5656. 166,000 reviews. 5656. I don't know. This one's a little bit sad, unfortunately. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. All right, let's get to the next one.